What up, everybody? Hope everybody good out there. It is the shot.
He wrong for that, baby.
With none other than he wrong for that baby. That's me. Brother, he said. Hope everybody is doing good. Hope everybody had a good week. Just got a few things to talk about. We probably won't be here too long, but we will have a good time while we're here. So shout out to anybody that has the ability and is able to check in right now. It is roughly noon here on the East Coast. Shout out to everybody on the West, Midwest, Middle America, and abroad. Hope everybody doing good. It was been a week. How was everybody's week? Hope you all are well. Let's get all of the pleasantries out the way. Hit that like button on your way in, the subscribe button too, and the bell. Shout out to T-shirts by Nikki for the Drippington. And shout out to my guy DNA. Be great, no excuses. Shout out to Wild Child DNA everywhere social. Check them out, one of the hottest DJs in the DMV area and anywhere else for that matter. Googleable as well. So y'all see what it say. The Shop episode 2, Math Ain't Mathin. And that's exactly what it means. Help it make sense for me. The time we living in 2022, the different attitudes, climates, forums, back and forths. Make it make sense. Is it for the greater good? Are we eventually going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel? And this is just, the necessary means, because the math ain't mathing for me. We have forums, sit downs, get togethers, and I would love to see where we skip to the part where it's therapeutic and holistic and positive in our tones, rhetoric, vocabulary to move us forward to a better position. So, I just want to know why the math ain't mathing up. We having all of this back and forth between men and women and single and not. And is it getting us anywhere? I would love if it did. We try to bring solutions on our platform. Shout out to He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance. And everybody else that does as well. We have a certain circuit or, network of people that we frequent and media streams that we like to be a part of. And shout out to them for pushing the conversation forward and trying to keep it general and whole so that we talk more of, objectives, speaking points, and situations versus individuals. Y'all let me know what I think. Let me know what y'all think. I know what I think. But that's what we're going to do. I got a couple of points to get to, a couple of interesting videos, a couple of interesting questions. And, you guys let me know what y'all think. And we go from there. But you see the title, The Math Ain't Mathin'. And that's what we're talking about today. The math ain't mathin'. Make it make sense. So let's just break the ice and get things going. And I'm going to put up a question. Is heartbreak gender specific? I hear a lot of people have conversation, and in the conversation, you would hear something like, a man can't take cheating like a woman can. And I want to know, does that have any validity to it? You guys let me know. And Hulk smash that like button like it says right there, floating down at the bottom. And I'll put it up again. Is heartbreak gender specific? Let you guys ponder that question. I know what I think, but let's take a look at this.
What happened when you got your heart broken?
I did everything but die. I thought I was dead, crying like a motherfucker. I cried so hard I thought I was outside in the rain.
Hey, do love hurt?
Shit, do it hurt? I'd rather be dead than take that shit, go through that pain again. If you be dead, you gone. You don't know. You gotta live with that shit and you ain't strong enough to handle love. You gotta walk around with that shit, you looking at all your friends, you ain't happy. You ain't happy, you putting on a little smile, but you ain't happy. Fuck you got to be happy about it. Yeah, they happy, you ain't happy. And you going around sitting everybody with their old lady you ain't got now, but yours done dumped your ass. Boy! Bitches just don't know, them bitches be joking, they just don't know. I'm ready to commit a suicide. I'm gonna take two of them with me. Ready to kill.
That was just a little clip of a gentleman expressing his opinion in retrospect on heartbreak, which is interesting. You know, he obviously went through a heartbreak, and he said it's not something that he would wish on anybody. That it's a horrible pain. You feel like he was dead or close to it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. What does it say? My video is not there. Let's see what it's a horrible pain. All right. So yeah, heartbreak. Is it gender specific? Y'all let me know. I don't think so. I think, heartbreak is heartbreak. Is it gender specific? I think man, woman, teenager, adolescent, adult, whatever you want to call yourself, you go through it, and it's something to process, especially when it's genuine and organic. Then you absolutely want to reflect and think about what your part that you played in it, and hopefully in the future you don't make those same faux pas, so to speak. And I think that's how we build our character as people, by using experiences to build off of. We don't always make the best decisions in the heat of the moment, and we always have time to correct though and go back. So I'm a big fan of that as far as reflection. But, heartbreak, I don't think that has any gender. I think man, woman, I think we all have to deal with it the same. We deal with it differently individually, but I think we all have come, encounter with heartbreak and had to suck it up and, pick up the pieces, so to speak. So today, y'all see the title of the episode 2, Math Ain't Mathin'. Y'all let me know, am I way off? Does it all make sense to you? Because to me, it's a little off. Math just don't add up. Because to me, the different personalities, different attitudes, the different things that we have to put up with as people just to coexist. And that's not, just in relationships, just in the world. If you reflect on your time that you spend, your 24 hours in a day, how many people do you come across that don't have the most welcoming attitude, that don't have the most gracious attitude? And I don't think that is coincidence. I think it's absolutely a climate that has been cultivated. I think it's, very individual society, very me. And this is the result of it. When the math just don't add up. People say they are a particular way. People say they move a particular way, but once we start to add the numbers up, it just don't add up. I could be way off. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Type love and abundance in the chat. Number 5, if I sound good. Number 7, if you sound good, look good, smell good. Just to let you know you hear me, or let me know that y'all hear me. Throw something in the chat. Shout out to everybody that come through on the peak. Hop in, stay a while. Fellas, this is for y'all, though. An absolute forum for us to come and build, because there's things in the world that exist that we need to build on. And let's go ahead and pull up something like this.
I'm watching Boondocks and they're mentioning the movie Soul Food, and that's my shit. Like, that's my movie. That's my favorite movie to watch. But is this true? Is this how Big Mama died? Like, mistake me if I'm wrong, but is this true?
At Sunday dinner, that was the first time you mentioned it. And you only started doing the stupid Sunday dinner thing because you saw Soul Food on cable. We're gonna pause this for the benefit of all y'all who never saw Soul Food. Soul Food is a movie about a big, humongous black grandmother, aptly named Big Mama. Big Mama demonstrates her love by feeding herself and her offspring enormous amounts of pig lard. Then, get this, Big Mama's arteries are so clogged, they gotta amputate her arm.
Actually, her leg. Yeah, it's her leg.
Right, okay, whatever, leg. Then, she dies of a heart attack. Or another stroke, or something.
God called her home.
And what does the family do after she dies? They get together for a Sunday dinner and eat the same food that just killed Big Mama. The same food! They didn't learn a lesson. Nobody went on a diet, and that's the end of the movie.
Sunday.
Is that true? Is that how Big Mama really died? Like, did that cause her death?
Hero for that, baby.
So that was a clip I just played from the Boondocks. That was a cartoon from, I believe it was the 90s. Very big in the 90s, early 2000s. And it was just a depiction on the movie Soul Food. I believe most people seen it that frequent the movie world. Just a movie about, Black family, Black tradition. But I wanted to speak to the overall point. I understand the young lady was asking a question on, was this really how the movie went? And I believe it was pretty true to form. But I think the bigger conversation is, do we do the same things over and over expecting different results? Because if so, that could be insane. What do you guys think? That we have, our ancestors that come up a certain way and then they pass and we reflect on their life and then continue to live the same life. Not in just the sense of food, so many different instances. We can absolutely look at that. So, let me know what y'all think. Just a pointer that I had to bring up. Something that I thought was very interesting. And just about tradition. Sometimes tradition can be something that needs to be examined and readjusted so that it fits your lifestyle, your family, and so on and so forth. So you can kind of keep the foundation of it, but, tweak it. Okay, your mask looks great. Shout out to Madison for wearing her mask. Madison says hello to everybody. And it looks like Saturday errands are going to be run by the people of the house. And I am going to continue to talk to you good people for a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and continue back to my Saturday schedule. So I got another question real quick. And the question is, what is one thing all men need before entering a relationship? That's something that is, we all have our individual views as men based on our walks of life. But for young gentlemen becoming men, what sort of tools do they need in their toolbox? And out of those tools, which one would be the most important? So I would love to hear if anybody has an answer to this question. I think that we have to have so many different tools in our quote unquote toolbox as men. It's not easy to narrow down one specific thing because, we have a plethora of information that we should hold in our head based on who we are, who we want to become, and what we aspire to achieve and have. And based on those things, I think you have to have an abundance of knowledge on top of the general knowledge that you should have just being a male wanting to become a man and exude the characteristics of manhood. So it's so many different layers, but you definitely have to have worldly knowledge and knowledge of what's going on around you. But if I had to say one thing all men need before entering a relationship, I would say well-roundedness. Well-roundedness to me is incredibly important because it makes you focus on all the aspects. Because again, if you're more concentrated in one aspect and you're focusing all of your energy and attention on becoming an expert in a certain area, then you're probably a novice or, you know, unaware of another area. So I think trying to be as well rounded as possible as far as STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, arts and sports and music and, culinary and travel, purchasing, just the world because it's ever changing. And again, if you're going to be a man of a certain level of sophistication, you're going to have to operate in it and have some sort of knowledge of how things are supposed to go so that you're not taken advantage of. Thank you for that, Mrs. She Said. Thank you for the reply. Let me know the sound is good. And since you out there, I'm going to talk to you. I put a question up there that I thought was important. What is one thing that all men need before entering a relationship? And, me, I always stand on my well-roundedness soapbox because I think that that's going to enlighten you and show you that for every area that you are, so proficient in, there are other areas in which you are lacking. So, water sports to electricity, you should have a little bit of knowledge of all of it. You might not particularly be a water sports fan, but maybe you may meet somebody who is, and you want to entertain a intellectual conversation based on facts, data, statistics, not just feelings or what you think about water sports, or because you don't like water sports, you start to spew all the negative stuff about it that you think. And this is not the way we operate. We just come to the table, quote unquote, don't get offended, with a certain level of knowledge in areas, and it's expected of us. Mrs. Harris says patience and understanding. Absolutely. It's very important in being an admirable human. And on top of that, being a respectable gentleman. You absolutely have to exert a certain amount of patience and a certain amount of understanding. I would absolutely agree with that. With that patience and understanding may come uncertainty, though. Us as men, we don't know in the ways in which patience is exuded that you ladies would appreciate. I think patience for us is listening to understand. Hopefully, I know in a perfect world it would happen, but I know everybody don't do it, and it takes a lot of us a little bit of time to get there. And understanding also brings us, a certain level of uncertainty, because if we take it a certain way, we perceive it, we take it in, we understand, we regurgitate back to you how we feel or how we want to go about a solution, sometimes solutions aren't always warranted. And I think that is one thing that, makes us uncertain. Is this one of the situations where she wants a solution, or is this one of the situations where she wants me to just sympathize, listen, empathize, and let her know that I'm here, and move forward in that fashion. Understanding the difference between men and women, respecting that is important. That is one of the most obvious ones that you pointed out to me. Shout out to you. Repeatedly, we would have discussion, and one of Mrs. She Said's points is always, I'm a woman and you're a man, and we're just not going to see things the same way in many instances. And, we have to respectfully agree to disagree and continue to move the conversation forward. And I think that was, always a mature outlook and admirable. And I could do nothing but respect and try to adopt that same outlook when it comes to not only relationships with Mrs. She Said, but just, work and outside of the home. But she absolutely must speak up. Like the missus said, a closed mouth don't get fed. That's something we say in this house a lot, because, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. It absolutely does. If the wheel isn't squeaking, why would you oil it? So, you definitely want to speak up, be vocal, communicate in your relationship. And I think that those uncertainties, us as men will be able to get through them. Just, be patient with us as well. I think that patience, like Mrs. said, is very important. Great point. To be a man, y'all, is not the easiest thing in the world. And to be a well-rounded man is even harder, because there's so much knowledge that you don't have. And even better than that, how do you know what you don't know? It's really hard to know the stuff that you don't know. Men are not mind readers, Mrs. She said. I agree with that statement. Nobody is. Women are not as well. So we all have to be a little more vocal. But I think that knowledge is like a grain of sand on the beach. For all that you get, it's a bunch that you ain't got. And when you understand that, again, I think it adds to that well-roundedness. You want to read more, you want to learn more, different cultures, different atmospheres, and that thirst, it creates that thirst. And I don't think that that's something that you could cut off with a switch. Once you start to thirst for knowledge, the different cultures, of different environments, of different ways to cope with things, of different generational tactics, of different money-making strategies, I think that opens Pandora's box, and you just want to continue to learn and soak up knowledge and get different perspectives and experiences from all the different walks of life that there are, because it's, yeah. Okay. All right. Let's do this. I'm going to run through this real quick because I think this was very important. I got a person in the chat, Mrs. She Said, the lovely Mrs. She Said. I got a question for you, Mrs. She Said. What's your favorite car? And anybody that checked this out on the rewind, what is your favorite car? That's the question. So, Bentley or a Range Rover or, a Pinto. Whatever your favorite is, though, I'm going to give it to you. It's yours. Fresh. What year we in? 2022. And I'm going to be real nice. I'm going to give you a 2022. So it's yours. You're driving around in it. And I want you to take a look at this.
What's your favorite car right now?
Lamborghini Aventador.
Range Rover.
Here's your Lamborghini, and here's your Range Rover. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to drive this car until the day you die. You're not meant to look at another car. Let me tell you, don't try buy another car, okay? A newer version of that car. Yeah. Don't you bring it in this house. From 2022 to 2060, in between, there are many times you will not want that car.
Yeah, there's new models.
You will see newer models. Sometimes it'll break down. This is the wear and tear. Yeah. But you have to keep on working on it. And then, in 2060, the car becomes a classic.
Yeah.
The question is, are you going to be able to stay until the car becomes a classic?
Yeah.
People make that decision in their 20s. And they're not able to stay until the car becomes a classic. So they sell the car 3 years in. They sell the car. I was about to sell my car 6 months in. Hey.
Brothers on that clip. I thought that was an excellent clip. And yep, you got your Ram truck. You got it. Gave it to you. Fresh. 2022. And you're going to be in it till 2060. You saw the clip. A lot of people don't want to go get into those Ram trucks and stay until 2060 because there's going to be so many other cars that come out in between 2022 and 2060, the fresher colors, and this one got extra things on the interior, and we have the new Bluetooth capabilities on this one that comes out. And a lot of people would want to trade in their Ram truck, their fresh, whatever it is that they like, because of the options that are coming out. But if you keep that Ram truck till 2060, it becomes a classic. And a lot of people are not willing to rock out until something becomes classical. Okay. Shout out to you. She said she rocking until her Ram truck become a classic. And you might be smart. But everybody don't think the same, and we can't penalize anyone who doesn't. So what we want to do is we wanted to make sense. That was the reason for the title of the episode, The Math Ain't Mathin'. If that's the most, like, he put that very eloquently, sounded very logical. And I'm pretty sure we have the head on our shoulders to think in those same terms. When we weigh it out, is it worth it? Based on the numbers that we see, are people looking at it in this fashion? That, a car 20 years, 30 years down the line becomes classic. These relationships that we jump into are unique now. It took a lot for us to get together at first. We had to come to a table that no one really wanted to bring or come to and tell what they brought to it. But once we get past all of that and we do get together, in 50 years, we become a classic. How come I don't ever hear people look at it like that? I sure enough hear, we gonna break up and she's gonna cheat and he's gonna cheat and he's gonna leave me and she's gonna beat me and she's gonna be a man talking to me crazy. But I don't hear nobody say it how he said it. In 20 years, we become a classic. Peace to knowledge and relationships. Now check out that channel, a dope platform, always with some healthy conversation going on, a very respectful space. And it does get spicy at times, but it's always respectful, spicy. And, everybody that's on the panel can handle it. So it's a good place. I think it's one of the better lunchroom tables that we sit at. And I just played a clip, M3. And the clip was concerning cars. And I want to ask you, what's your favorite car? Because whatever it is, I'm giving it to you. And it's yours. You driving in it now. But there's a question that goes along with the car. Are you willing to keep that car with all the other new cars coming out until your car becomes a classic? Because in about 40 years, that car is going to become a really nice classic car. And everybody's going to like it. Like, damn, you kept that joint up. And it looks nice. You guys make a nice team. How'd you do that?
What's your favorite car right now?
Lamborghini Aventador.
Range Rover.
Here's your Lamborghini, and here's your Range Rover. Now you're going to drive this car until the day you die. You're not meant to look at another car. Like, let me tell you, don't try buy another car, okay? A newer version of that car.
Yeah.
Don't you bring it in this house. From 2022 to 2060, in between, there are many times you will not want that car.
There's new models.
You'll see newer models. Sometimes it'll break down. This is the wear and tear.
Yeah.
But you have to keep on working on it. And then in 2060, the car becomes a classic.
Yeah.
The question is, are you going to be able to stay until the car becomes a classic?
Yeah.
People make that decision in their 20s. And they're not able to stay until the car becomes a classic. So they sell the car 3 years in. They sell the car. I was about to sell my car 6 months in. Hey.
As long as it helps me get around without the need for gas, I am good. You see that? That's my brother. Whole nother level. Most cars run on gas. My car run on a bunch of gas too. $80, $100, $120 to fill it up. He's like, I don't even want that. Everybody got that. Let me get something that don't run on gas, a little different. And it get me to where I gotta go, I'm good. I mean, that sounds like a very sensible brother and innovative. Because, like I said, my car running on gas. Most people car running on gas. So shout out to all of y'all outside the box thinkers, and imagine that exotic electric car running in about 40 years. That's definitely gonna be a classic. Cars may be flying. Who knows what you're gonna need to run a car? Or they may be running on the electricity that you use for yours. You could just be ahead of the curve. So I thought it was an excellent analogy and a great point that sometimes we got to stick it out, even though the newer, flashier models is coming out. That's all dolled up and prettied up. But, you know, what do it have under the hood? You know, what's the horsepower like? How strong is the tranny? Ooh, no pun intended. So I thought the car analogy was dope. I'm gonna leave that there. Okay, check this out. It gets better. Questions get a little harder. And I got my brother in here, M3. I got a question. As a man, how do you differentiate sound advice from BS? And, you know, I say that only because we sit down in a lot of circles, different forums, and speak to people as well. And I hear a lot of different stuff. Some things sound cliche, some things sound organic, and everything in between. But as fellas, how do we filter the information that comes to us? And I'm gonna play a quick clip to go along with the question. But I would just love to know, you know, gentlemen, I know how I do it, but how do you do it? And check this out.
Hey, check this out. I just had a talk with a young brother. Seemed like he was a little down on some things with his life and everything. So, you know, we most definitely had what I consider a man talk. And, you know, he just going through some things. A lot of people go through things. None of us are going to just go through a life where just nothing occurs. And like I told him, man, you know, at times struggles make you stronger. Struggles are something that, you know, many of us going to experience. I say you out here, you working, you busting your ass, you're taking care of your children, you laying down a foundation for them, you're being positive, you're not causing any problems, you're not getting in trouble. Don't get caught up in that life of the fast lane, you know, the life you can't afford. Don't get caught up in the partying, the popping the bottles, if you don't have it, all the traveling. I mean, just things you cannot afford. I know you may get frustrated, but you're doing the right thing. You're taking care of your seeds, because there are a lot of guys who's living that life to make people think they're doing so much. There are a lot of guys who out here partying, clubbing, buying the Jordans or whatever, buying the gear. There's a lot of dudes out here that's just living large or acting like they living large. They're not even taking care of their seeds, man. I told you are a man. Be proud that you are a man. You doing what you're supposed to do. I know it get hard, get frustrated. I said, when you get frustrated, hug your babies, man. That's right. It's about setting it up for them. I said, I guarantee you, what you're doing right now, you're setting up that legacy for your babies. Just keep doing it. Be positive. Man talk.
Shout out to that man talk. Shout out to everybody checking in and pulling in. Sheed, what up, my brother? And my sis. Hey, Red, how you doing? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody had a good week. And that clip was just a clip that a brother shared about a young brother he encountered. And he just wanted to exchange some positive words and some direction to that young brother. But y'all see the question that's on the screen. As a man, how do you differentiate sound advice from BS? Because everything that brother said in that clip was sound advice. But sometimes you hear those same things from people that it's not genuine. I'm going to be honest with you. And again, I think we all know that, it's a greater good. Our babies are more important. We should absolutely work hard to get the things that we want. We were told all of these things from little. But what I really want to go down the hole on is, what did he tell him to do for himself? Any type of coping mechanisms for him. He actually told him, go to work, and then when you finish working, go to work. And if you feel frustrated in going to all of that work, hug your babies. And told a man to go have a day for himself. Take yourself on a date. Just relax, have a beer, reflect, write out your strategy, write your goals. Again, I don't want to sound super soapboxy, but it's always do something for somebody else to make you feel good as a man. I just heard a woman say to the national world that during intercourse with her husband, the only way to reward him was for her to finish. No, it's a bunch of ways to reward somebody. It's a whole bunch of other stuff that you could do. And I would love to talk to that young man to tell him, no, you take some time for yourself. You go and get yourself some shoes. You go and get yourself a suit. You go and get yourself, some stock, a Bitcoin share. You relax, you reward yourself. You throw a couple of extra dollars to the side to pay yourself first for all of the hard work that you do. Yes, we do work for our kids. We want to present a positive role model, and we want to leave a legacy, but we have to be happy while we do this. If all we see is the tunnel of working, why do we go to work every day? What's fueling our engine to get up and work every day? And again, I completely agreed with what the brother was telling him about all the things of staying positive and go to work and all of that. But brothers, take the time out to do something for yourself, because that's why the words come that men are just so simple. Y'all are just so simple. All y'all want is a damn sandwich and some sex. No, we is not that damn simple. We want some damn chill time. We want some peace. We want some tranquility. We want some me time. We want some retail therapy. We want to go maybe a massage. I'm not me particularly, but maybe it's a fella out there that like a damn massage once in a while. Sit in a sauna. Overall, shout out to AR on the check-in. I just want fellas to treat themselves a little bit too. Don't get so consumed in just working all the time. And, we know that that's something that we have to do. But, the cup got to be full in order for it to spill out into somebody else. Shout out to Mrs. She Said coming through the door.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yes, self-care, just a little bit. Like I said, the brother, he definitely made some great points, but he left out anything, for the young brother to do anything for himself. And I just want our young brothers to know that you are important as well, young sirs. You deserve a little bit of chill as well. So, take that into consideration. And back to my question. How do we know when somebody is just telling us, BS versus really good advice? For me personally, I think it's in the sincerity in which they deliver it. Because number one, a lot of people don't even care enough to sit down and listen to understand and then, give you something that is actually helpful. Most people either bring it back to themselves, tell you what they would do, and, go from there. But very few people sit down and say, damn, sorry you got to go through that, and you made some good points, but here's a couple of ways that you can tackle it. You can do A, if you really care. You can do B, if you don't give a damn. And you can do C if you on the fence or in the middle. But again, I don't think everybody gives things the certain attention that it deserves. You hear a brother come to you and say, my girl cheated on me. And it's like, oh yeah, man, my girl cheated on me. And this is XYZ, what happened? And it just quickly became about you. Quickly. Didn't get any specifics, no who, what, when, where, why, so we can get some totality and give the brother some sound advice. Just, let's tell you what I would have did, or let's take out my past experiences and, reflect them onto you and live vicariously through you. Hopefully you'll get it right where I got it wrong. And I don't think that is, necessarily the best method. I think that we as men need to come to each other in sincerity and speak to each other in sincerity and organicness. And if you're giving a brother some advice, I hope it would be well thought out and, something that you would hopefully follow yourself in order to make him move in a positive fashion. Okay, so let's move on. I have another question. Like I said, they don't get easier. Fellas, how do you express masculinity in a positive fashion in your own life? And while you ponder that, here you go.
How do you express masculinity in the most positive way in your own life?
Vulnerability. Yeah, so for me, it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to show love, to express it in a way that, your kids or, anyone around you really, even your fellow man friends, to just feel like, okay, this guy has really let out his feelings and he's vulnerable and he tells me, what he's thinking, what he's feeling and expresses it. Because, we tend to keep so much to ourselves as men, as we all know, especially in the African setting where you're told, "Kae ngumu."
Yeah.
For sharing with us and exposing their vulnerability. Appreciate that. It's all good, Sheed. I'm just here chopping it up, man. Like I said, this is the barbershop, man. You come in for 5 minutes, you come in for a shape up or a whole cut. It's a chair open. You know what I mean? This is just where the fellas come to talk, man, like about things that happen with us. And this question that I just posed, how do you express masculinity in a positive fashion in your own life? I try to do it in many different ways. I try to use honesty, straightforwardness to a point. And I think those things in combination is the definition of my masculinity, because again, I come from a certain area where honesty may get the shit smacked out of you. If you too honest, if you too right, if you hit a point where they say hit monkeys holler or hit dogs holler, you hit and it resonates. Somebody might say something like, "What you say? Say that shit again. I'll slap the shit out you." It's time to start making decisions now. You gonna say it again? Or is he gonna slap the shit out you? Or are you gonna be like, "Yeah, all right, whatever, man, yeah, whatever. And don't say it again, though. So, us as men, I think that that's absolutely a platform and a standpoint that we come from, and it has to be recognized immediately. So my honesty comes at a price. I know this, and there may be somebody that is rubbed the wrong way by my honesty. That's why I try to, put a cap, word things in a particular fashion, so that it doesn't come off in a particular fashion. But my honesty and, my delivery is a part of my masculinity. And it's how I express it positively, because we can absolutely go another way, but I choose to use my words in a specific fashion to get my point across and my feelings conveyed to the forum, to my partner, to my children, to my colleagues. And it's not always received in the most positive fashion. But this is, my platform and my box that I stand on. And like I said, there's always room for negotiation. There's always room for me to look back in hindsight and say, I could have did some things different, but I'm always going to stand first. I'm not going to waver on both sides and then, pick one that's in the best advantage for me, or the one that is most advantageous. So y'all let me know. How do you express your masculinity in a positive fashion in your own life? And I wanted to play something for y'all that was interesting to me. And last week I asked a question, right? I put up a clip with Cam Newton, and everybody knows what was going on with that. But at the end of the day, and at the end of the stream, I had a question. The question was, if not Cam, who? Who can we put up there in his place that the message would be received? And I put it up on all platforms. If y'all want, I will share the screen in which I put it up. I haven't got a response yet. Multiple platforms. And I think I'm the only person that responded, and I think I responded with the word crickets. So if anybody want to chime in, but let's do this. I can go a whole nother route with it. Let's do this. Let's take him away and let's put him up here.
You walking with that thong in your behind, and now it's the ass shaking contest. Yes, you know what I'm saying. It ain't a brain moving contest. It's an ass shaking contest, and you want to be the new winner. Don't look at me like I'm saying something foul with your foul ass self. I know it's rough. I know it's rough. Damn it, but you better hear it from me, because there's something coming behind me. Well, I never heard a man of God talk like that. You ain't never met a man of God. There was a time, sisters, when your underwear wouldn't be pleasing on a clothesline that your neighbor could see. Do you remember them days? Damn right you do, but you're forgetting today. Your drawers is all out in the public now. I can see the line of your panties now. Your breasts damn near falling out. How in the hell can a man think a sane thought? And you know damn well where his eyes are. Ain't one of you dumb. You just low down.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Shout out to the Honorable. And it's why I'm sitting here. Because I'm not the most perfect guy in the world. I'll tell y'all in a minute. I'm breaking Ramadan right now, sitting here. I'm supposed to be chilling right now. I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I'm going to have to do a lot of praying to repent for this and a couple of other things as well. But that's neither here nor there. But like I was saying, take Cam away. Put the Honorable up there. I don't think y'all want the Honorable up there. So again, if not Cam, who could we put? We can't put Cam. You sure don't want to put Honorable Elijah Muhammad up there. Because you heard what he just said. Underwear ain't even for under no more. Underwear is overwear now. Because we over y'all wearing it outside.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
We over y'all wearing it to the damn airport. We over y'all wearing it to the club.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
We just over y'all feeling y'all could wear anything y'all want, wherever y'all want. It's not right. We can't do that. We even come to the club with some sweatpants on. Whole room might get dark.
He wrong for that, baby.
We gotta have on a suit with a jacket and a hat with a pocket square and a little rose in the lapel of the jacket. Let me come in there with a Champion hoodie on, some sweats, dingy. It'd be a problem. So, again, forget about the messenger, because it could be so many different messengers. What about the message? Denzel, Russell, those are good guys. Those are upstanding gentlemen that I would take advice from. I would take advice from everybody. Now, what I would apply to my life, but I'll take advice from anybody, because I think you can always use what you need and throw away what you don't. I will never say, how dare she say that when she got ... How dare he say that? So that's why, I came right out the back, let you know I'm busting Ramadan right now by being here. So go ahead, put it in your clip when you don't agree with me and say, how dare I listen to him and he don't even follow, his Ramadan thing like he's supposed to. Well, who do? Who's the perfect Christian? Who's the perfect Buddhist? Who's the perfect Muslim? There's no such thing. Like I said, I'll just throw it right out there. I'm not even going to front like, I'm holier than, and, I'm practicing Ramadan. I'm out here floating on these clouds. Nobody can touch me now. I'm a regular dude. I try to use this to guide me to be a more improved man. And I have my barometers and my bars in which I have my goals and my sights set on. And if everybody, use something as a bar to look up to, maybe we would be moving a little bit different as people out here. But that's just my thought. I could be way off. If anybody want to jump on that question, y'all go right ahead. I'll get to the next one. Don't forget to Hulk smash that like button. Request for a one-on-one or any questions, comments, smoke. We like smoke. But absolutely be able to back up your argument. Not with just feelings and thinking either. We need actual conversation. Stats, data, and statistics would be preferred, but you can pick off menu as long as it is palatable. Tell us about a tough time you got through. It could be paraphrased, summed up real quick, shorthand. And while you ponder, and I get ready to tell y'all mine, I'm just going to play a quick clip.
It basically says that tough times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. And I believe nowadays we are living in the time of the weakest men of all time. And it is factually proven. It is shown that men today have more estrogen than testosterone, and men's testosterone levels have been the lowest it's been in the last 50 years. So you want to know why? This goes to the men, because y'all always say I don't talk shit about the men. I'm about to talk shit to the men right now. You want to know why you're having a fucking tough time with these women and life in general and everything? Because you're fucking weak. It's because you choose pleasure over pain. You choose having a good time over being disciplined. You try to avoid failures. You try to avoid taking losses. You want to know why you're having such a tough time? Because you're so fucking weak. You need to go through the fucking fire. You need to be disciplined. You need to go through the pain. You need to go through the heartbreaks, the heartaches. You need to take as many losses as you can. Why? Because those tough times will make you a strong, disciplined man. And so if you don't have no discipline, no foundation, and no structure, you will be a weak man, and weak men create tough times. So you need to step. Men need to step it the fuck up.
Hey, play your church button.
Let me
Okay, go ahead.
let me say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I have never seen two guests nod their head in agreement to Donald so much. The whole time you was talking, they was like,
But the thing about it is, if I say that about women,
You hate women.
you
You
hate
gay.
women. But that was I'm gonna clip that. When I talk about women, it's never But when I talk about men, oh yes, you tell them, girl. No, you gotta be critical of men and women, because the thing about it is, if you can't take constructive criticism or you can't take accountability, you become weak and you develop a victim mentality.
For sure.
And nobody can be successful and a victim at the same time. And y'all not gonna agree with this. Women always play the fucking victim,
100%,
which is why they don't really have any success when it comes to relationships.
That's so.
That is a dope platform, and shout out to them. I think that they keep the conversation moving forward. There's little bits of discourse every once in a while. But overall, let me know what y'all think about what he said. Could be way off. He could be way off. Nobody said he right. But he think he right. Sounded pretty confident. But tell me about a tough time you guys been through, because like he said, I think tough times create certain things. Good times create certain things. And we are a product of those things. But I don't think, like he said, we examine it enough to take that accountability, that we're kind of creating the circumstances in which we sit. And I think it's easier to blame other people, and that's why we do it. Shout out to everybody checking in. And y'all see what it says. The math ain't mathing. And I just played a clip that alluded to tough times and the different types of men that times create, and the different type of men that want to create time. So y'all, let me know what y'all think. I think that overall he was making a absolute true statement when he said that there's a certain level of accountability that need to be displayed on both parts. I completely agree. And I also agree that when he went on his soapbox about men, the peanut gallery was in agreement. And I think that when the tables turn and we try to give the ladies a little bit of constructive criticism, I don't think the agreement is so resound. I think there's a little pushback. And again, it's always healthy to have pushback, but it has to be realistic. And again, I think we all are trying to get to the same destinations. We may be taking different routes on how we specifically get there, but I think we all have the same goal in mind, and that's, community, family, and things of that nature. So to speak more to the video and his point, I think that we create the times in which we feel the most comfortable. Like he said, tough men create quality experiences because they've been through tough times. And I think us as men, we have to go through these tough times in order to shape our character. You got to go through the fire, like he said. You got to, push uphill. You got to take the losses. You do, because it comes with a certain level of taste. And I don't know if any of y'all ever played sports. I always allude to sports. We in the shop. But you ever lost a game and the coach said, keep that taste in y'all mouth. I want y'all to remember how y'all feel right now, because you don't want to feel like this again. So we're going to make the necessary changes and adjustments so that we do not have this feeling again. And when we run up against this same experience or team again, remember this taste. Remember how they made you feel so that you can get your get back. And however that looks to you, whether it's success, a new relationship, a new baby, a new house, however it looks to you, you have to recognize that and then move forward to obtaining that goal so that you can, continue to move forward and keep shining. Mrs. She Said checked in. She said, with most of us, we lead with being victimized by another man, boyfriend, father, brother, uncle, etc. Understandable, because it's an experience that you've been through and processed and have every right to, like I said, to have a taste in your mouth because of it. But we cannot, equate that to everything else that we eat. And yeah, I agree that there is a lot of victimization. I think we all come with a story, and we want to start the story from where we want to start it from too. And there was no before or after or in the middle or further questions if you want to dive deep. No, the story is my story. Here's what I'm saying, and this is how it was. But we all know that there's a couple of other sides to that same story we're not hearing, because there's 3 sides to every story. So, y'all let us know. A tough time you've been through. I'll start. Transitioning from different states. We were kind of in limbo in the middle while we were trying to find a new place in Maryland, coming from upstate New York, and didn't want to exercise a bunch of patience. We wanted out of the situation that we were in there, and we really, didn't care about the situation. Not care about, but we really weren't concerned with the situation that we put ourselves in when we moved to Maryland, because we were just happy that we were in Maryland. Okay. So with all of that being said, in the middle of the transition, our housing fell through for whatever reason. Whatever housing we, had set up didn't come through at the last minute. But we're already, transitioning from upstate New York to Maryland. So when we get to Maryland, we absolutely don't technically have a place to stay. So that's a concern for, a man that is, trying to be the leader of his family, moving forward to a new place, and just trying to pick up the pieces. Mrs. She said, checked in. She said, we try to make men aware of the prior turmoil in hopes they will not repeat what was done. Absolutely. But you're also giving them a sort of a menu of don't do these things that's on the menu. And it kind of implies that as long as I don't do the things that's on this menu right here, I could do some other stuff, and that'll probably be all right. So, sometimes being so specific isn't the best option. We can generalize and say, I've been through some things, this is not my first rodeo, and, go from there. But I don't think we want to give a laundry list of, my girlfriend, she used to hit me. And then my ex-girlfriend, she also used to, have a lot of male friends. And because that's just, giving her a list of, all right, so as long as he don't find out I got a bunch of male friends, he'll be good. And as long as I don't put my hands on him, but there'll be other things to test the waters, so to speak, and vice versa. So, let's be a little more general and intellectual with our conversation versus specifically, jumping into that victim role. So back to the story. We transitioned in, housing fell through, and we got to do something. So we get to Maryland, and, we reaching out. I'm reaching out to support system. I'm looking maybe a hotel, but, these things is costly, especially with the transition. You got U-Haul, and, I'm already maxing the credit cards out. So I got a friend, Northern Washington, and he had some points that you get from the hotel that you stay in. And he's like, you know what, man? I hear what you're saying. And yes, unique. You're my brother. Love you to death. Here's what I could do. I got some points. It probably could get you about 2 days. You think you can make something happen in 2 days? And it's like, yeah, I got to work with whatever comes at me. I'm going to work with. So if that's what it is, that's what it is. So, long story, even longer. We spent a couple of days in the hotel, and we work out our housing, but just being able to, number one, have a network of people. And again, coming from upstate to New York to Maryland, we don't have not one connection in Maryland. We knew 0 people when we got here, but my high school friend is in Washington, which is not too far. But again, just having a network of people is something that is necessary. And us as men, we know that even if it's California, even if it's Anchorage, Alaska, even if it's Nova Scotia, Canada, if something happens and I end up there, realistically, what is my network? What is my realistic solution to getting out of this situation? So a couple of days in the hotel worked out for my brother. And of course, I'm immensely grateful to him and always, looking to pay him back and I'll do anything for him that he needs. But I think it was that level of camaraderie, me coming to him, articulating my concern, my stress, him knowing me, knowing the type of guy that I am, and it worked out. But that's a tough time. And, a weaker brother would break down and handle it a different way. But sometimes we got to stay calm. We got to think about our resources, our support system, our community, and, make it happen. You also got to have a nice credit card in your pocket because you never know what you might need. You never know when you might need a place to stay. You might need a car to get around. You might need a plane ticket to go somewhere. And how can you put yourself in a position to do that when you got $67 in your pocket, all cash? You just met the woman in your life talking about, let's get out of here and go somewhere quiet with a mini bar. How do you respond? So y'all let me know how y'all dealt with tough times. But, I think we all had them. And I think we all dealt with them in certain ways. And like I said, the people that we come across with, we frequent and sit at their table in their podcasts, they absolutely, give coping mechanisms on how it is to be an adult, a card-carrying adult. And there's not a lot of excuses. You've been to the meeting, you got the card, you're an adult, act accordingly. And you're not going to get kudos and congratulations for doing things that adults are supposed to do. So let's change the climate a little bit. I got a couple of things I want to see. It was very interesting to me. Check this out, y'all. Shout out to everybody that's about to show y'all age.
Hey, girls, here comes Prissy. I'll bet she's going to give it another try. Hello, Prissy. Going to try again today to lay an egg? Yes. She'll never make it. Poor old thing. Why doesn't she give up?
Now, why do those cackling old biddies have to be so mean to that skinny old hen fur? I think I'll just go over and arrange a surprise for those old busybodies. Now to slip this egg under old square britches.
All right, I'm gonna stop right there. That was a cartoon. Shout out to the Looney Tunes. 70s, late 60s. And that was Foghorn Leghorn. I don't know if y'all remember Foghorn Leghorn, but like I said, show y'all age. Be honest. Don't lie.
He wrong for that, baby.
And Foghorn Leghorn was a particular cartoon, and that was a particular instance in the cartoon that the young lady, I believe Prissy was her name, she was a single mom. She was always trying to have a child. And as you can see, the other young lady hens, or young lady chickens, young lady chickens, weren't the nicest to her for just wanting to have something to nurture. These are cartoons that we was brought up on. So he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over here and throw an egg up in there, get this girl a baby. And he winds up giving her the damn baby. And she has the... And...
All right, sister, out with it. Let's have it. Now what's the big idea bashing me on the noggin with a rolling pin? Clunk enough people and we'll have a nation of lumpheads. Now hold on, that was a joke, girl. Lumpheads. Nothing to cry about. Now let's hear your side of the story, sister. Well, I know just what you're gonna say. You're looking for a husband. Yes. Well, you're going about it all wrong, girlie. You don't bat him on the bean with a rolling pin. That comes later.
He wrong for that, baby.
That was a damn cartoon from the 70s, probably the 60s. A cartoon. Let's look at those two clips. The first one with the ladies were not being very nice to her. She didn't have a child. She wanted a child. They said, "You going out to try again?" Yes. Yes, I'm going out to try again. Then she smacks him on his head with a rolling pin. And he said, "What are you doing? We're going to have a nation full of lumpheads." No pun intended. Then she started crying. Was that the victim? So he asked her what was wrong. And she started to say what was wrong, and he stopped her. "I know what's wrong. You out here looking for a husband, ain't you?" Yes. But you're going about it all wrong. And that was a cartoon. And we wrong for addressing these topics that we talking about today in real, actual human life. I'll wait till next week to get an answer. Shout out to She. What up, She? How you doing, my brother? Hope all is well. You got to unmute yourself and then you're good to go.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
You are in the building.
All right. Yeah, man.
So you see the topic. It says the math ain't mathin'. And I just played a clip. What I'm pretty much saying is we ain't far off from the conversations that we having now. I know it might not be the best and healthiest way, but the conversations ain't new. Check this out.
All right, sister, out with it. Let's have it. Now what's the big idea bashing me on the noggin with a rolling pin? Clunk enough people and we'll have a nation of lumpheads. Now hold on, that was a joke, girl. Lumpheads, nothing to cry about. Now let's hear your side of the story, sister. Well, I know just what you're gonna say. You're looking for a husband. Yes. Well, you're going about it all wrong, girlie. You don't bat him on the bean with a rolling pin. That comes later.
Looney Tunes. Foghorn damn Leghorn knows she out here looking for a husband. And what the young man said in the clip earlier is that young ladies kind of play the victim because of their bad choices and situations. And not to be mean, but if a goddamn cartoon is showing us the same thing, how wrong are we for just trying to entertain the conversation that maybe we can go about shit a little different to get to, a better place? What do you think about that?
Yeah. Imitating life. But instead of women hitting men over the head to get them, they kind of dress a certain way to bat their eyes and all that. He was right on one way on, not hitting them upside the head. There's other ways of getting them. Basically put it into play. What is
Absolutely.
it? Art imitates life.
It does.
Movies.
It does. And it brings up a question. Is it that way or is it vice versa? Do we see, does these movies and then want to act them out? Or is the movies being written based on how we're acting in real life?
Yeah. To the degree it's both. To paint the narrative, when you want to give a narrative, you present it in which so many times people have no choice but to accept it. You know? That's like the whole thing with the movies. They having the men being the gentlemen. I mean, all the movies, Gone with the Wind. Back in the day, those were a lot of gentlemen, heartfelt movies.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the music, they always had the dad was stepping out. What was the Papa was a Rolling Stone, all them, and then now you got the dude with the music now, like what Kells with Mr. Big,
Mm-hmm.
all those now, with the women coming with their music, the narrative that they're pushing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree. It definitely has an agenda, and it's for us to be able to look at it and look past it. I also played a clip from the Boondocks. Did you watch the Boondocks, the cartoon?
Yeah, I used to watch.
One of the dopest cartoons out. And you know, it seems like we want to do the same thing and expect different results. Like, you push on your channel, the real estate, the generational wealth, the different ways of changing the narrative and changing the history of our culture, our community, our families in different ways, presenting different options. I think is something that we absolutely should entertain because we've all come up a certain way. And for us to think that we can do it the same way and get better children, get better results for our families, it's completely moronic.
Yeah, I mean it's a situation. That's why I told guys, the gender topic to me, it's always gonna be around. You're gonna have situations to where the women need to be favored or the men need to be favored. But while we're, battling against each other, our kids and the next generations, throughout are going to be left behind because, like, I would say probably around Gen X, the knowledge wasn't passed down as much. It was more life lessons, and it was to the point where, you know, the whole old people this, they don't know nothing because, of course we have like you was talking about earlier about accepting the knowledge. There's certain old people that just don't know anything. They never known nothing their whole life. They're gonna die. My grandma always said it best. The difference between the old fool and the new fool is that the old fool, I mean, the old fool never actually progressed. When you're young, you're supposed to progress yourself into being better. But they became the old fool because being a young fool, they never learned from their mistakes. So they passed that same, crazy erotic behavior on to the next generation, and they do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a saying in the land that's similar, and it's like if a man is doing the same thing in his 40s that he's doing in his 20s, he wasted 20 years of his life.
Yeah.
And it's just about that growth. We all as men have a certain level of knowledge that we should operate with. And again, if as long as you have a good foundation, I think you should build and be able to build by putting, those tools in your chest box or your toolbox that when you need the necessary tool to get you out of a necessary jam, you have it. There's no way you could tell me, I need a wrench, but I don't have one. I got a screwdriver and I'm gonna make it work the same way. You just can't.
Yeah. It gets to the point where, some people are lacking. And I always say this at 18, especially as a man, you should go find the knowledge. So we can say the whole single mom thing all day. We can do all that, but as a man, you should go out here and find the knowledge. I mean, not even taking nothing from a woman as well. He can go out there and find women that are doing well, have things together, and use them as a shield of like a mentorship. Look at their life, see how they've been groomed, see how they, kept it in a marriage for so long, kept in between the lanes like when you're driving. A lot of guys I say that when it comes to them, I say, look, if my dad raised me, I can only be a spinning image of my dad, but I can't be a better man until I have other men groom me as well. Show me how to, do things, show the right from wrong. I mean, nowadays, men, I mean, just like you just said about the toolbox. Nowadays, men don't even know how to use tools because they just sit there and think that the money will pay for anything. That's like the biggest misunderstood thing in my book, to where the money is more the validation to get better in life than to actually get better by building yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a unique time we living in, man. Just because, like I said, just us as men, we know that we come up against certain circumstances, and that's why I wanted to have this forum to bring fellas in. Not necessarily to have women in unless we had a topic that pertained to them or we needed their insight on something. I wanted this to be a space where we come, because we don't have a lot of spaces where we can speak freely, intelligently, without reprimand or recourse behind what we say, except the barbershop back in our day. And that kind of got taken away from us because, unfortunately, single parenthood, where mothers had to raise child, so now they have to bring them to the barbershop. So now they sitting and they're waiting while their son get their hair cut, and we can't talk like we were talking before she came in. And just that space personifies America. It's not a lot of men talk shows. It's not a lot of men shelters. There's not a lot of safe havens for men that are not of a high level to come and have their voices heard and respected without somebody saying, oh, well, who the fuck is y'all to be saying anything? Y'all hardly make any money. So I wanted to have an average man space, because I am an absolute average guy. Don't make a lot of money, but don't need a lot of money. Got my other, things going on to help change my family's dynamic. But going to work for 40 hours is not going to make any of us rich. And I think we all have to understand that in order to know, we can move in a different fashion. We just got to be mindful of it and be willing to do it.
The biggest aspect that a lot of men taking knowledge from people, just like you were saying, like you can learn from a child, a crackhead, anybody, something. Whether it be they tell you that they had a path in their life they chose that wasn't, good for them. That's why they came to this situation they're in, or just some, just crazy story or behavior that they're telling you. You can see the judgment in, certain things that they're saying and say, well, I'm not going to listen to him and implement that into my life because look at the results that he got for himself. Now if you telling me I came to this result because, I was an alcoholic all my life, I'm gonna tell you I don't see nothing wrong with drinking, but slow down on the bottle. I say, okay, well, I'm gonna take that advice because, these are the results that he had from drinking too much. Now, anything other than that, I can question and be like, I don't know. But you're showing me the results of the effects that happen in your life due to the situation you're in. I'm gonna have to take heed to that. Take some type of, notice to say, well, this guy been drinking for 20 years, 40 years, and this was the end result: being homeless, putting the bottle before his family, putting the bottle before his kids, losing his job. I might need to slow down on drinking. Take that thought that what he was telling me a little more serious.
I agree. I got a question I'm gonna put up. I want you to take a look at it.
All right.
What is one thing all men need before entering in a relationship? And I was speaking to well-roundedness. I started to speak about that toolbox that I was talking about. But if I had to be specific, I would say a man needs a formal education. I think it's going to be a high school diploma or GED, whichever works, a driver's license, and a trade. I think if you have a trade, that's something that no one can take away from you. You always know something, and you will always be able to capitalize off of it. You can grow your trade if you feel, or maybe, but I think trades are a lot better than just a 9-to-5 job because it's knowledge that you can put in your toolbox and you'll always be good at something. What do you think, G?
The biggest thing I always talk about, and I be big on this, say this a lot, and that is knowledge of self. They got to figure out things in their life, figure out what they want to do. With me being a man, I kind of found myself at a young age.
Okay.
Raised around elders, grandmother raised me. I had this whole notion of doing things ahead of my time. clubs. I was partying. I was going into 21 and older clubs, like 18, 17. So I lived ahead of my time. So therefore, when it got to me to do certain things, I was already ahead of the curve. I'm looking and learning about this. Like I was telling my friend one time about life insurance, and he was like, "Man, I don't need no life." And then when it came down to, I think his dad passing, it came back up when we was talking because his grandma had a policy and they lost it or something. And like I told him, I said, "Man, see why life insurance is important now?" He was like, "Yeah, man, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take it serious, and I'm gonna go ahead and get a policy." Found out his mom already had a policy. It was just the whole point of him, not really knowing because he never asked, he never looked into things. So he think I was like, that's not enough. I'm like, if you're gonna have kids, that's not enough. That policy probably just only benefits your mom to a certain amount. What are you gonna do for yourself and for your family?
Right.
So that posed the question, but like I say, that knowledge itself is key. A lot of people gotta, even before getting into any relationship, friendship to a degree, because some friends can help you along the way, but you mainly have to know you. That's the problem with a lot of people. When you're on a plane, first thing they tell you, crash, the mask come down.
Right.
Put the mask on yourself before you put it on someone else.
That's true.
You have to save yourself before you can actually help or save anybody else. That's the key with a lot of people in relationships. You might see a flaw in a woman, be like, "Oh, credit is bad. Get together, fix her credit. Or maybe she, look the part, like she dressed bummy, or dress like real stylish. So I'm gonna dress her because I'm fashion with it. I can dress. Same thing with the woman. The woman can do the same thing.
Right.
You just need a little help in life. I'm gonna help him out. Because I see he came from a bad background. Parents wasn't there for him, and it's to the point where she don't even have herself together. She's only gonna hinder the process with him. She can help him to establish certain things, but
Right.
it's not gonna be as better if she was together than she helped him.
Yeah.
You
That
have a lot of
foundation.
celebrities.
Absolutely. I think the foundation is absolutely important and, spot on. Absolutely. So here's another question, and as a man, how do you differentiate sound advice from BS? We hear a lot of advice of how we should move, things we should do, and some of it is organic, but some of it is just smoke sometimes coming from people that want to feel better than you, sound better than you, tell you what to do, whatever the case may be. How do we differentiate? How do we hear the difference between the two?
It's the key with example. Show and prove. BS, test it. Same thing with any advice. It can be test and prove to be, not just surface level, but not to be surface level to the point where I could say, man, you give me $10,000, man, I can give you the best woman in 5 seconds. Oh, $10,000? Here you go. He takes the 10 and run. It can be proven. Honestly, the whole thing where people pitching and selling things, see, even with the information, to be in life. And the best way to be in life, happy wife, happy life. We always hear that. That's like some of the best advice supposedly known to men to give to another man. But to the extent is if we both not happy, then how's the relationship gonna grow?
Right.
So it's crazy. Like you got to prove it. I heard his pastor said it best. He was like, he dealt with people that always try to give him information and insight to try to raise his kids or to do business better. And he'd be like, show me an example. One guy told him about his implementing something to teach his kids far as educational wise.
Okay.
He was like, "How can you prove it?" The guy said, "Well, my son is a doctor. My daughter is a lawyer. The other son is a professor. Went home that next day, implemented all his kids do whatever needs to be done exactly like that guy because he showed his work. Everything that he told the guy that implemented to his kid's life, it was proven because he had successful kids from it.
Okay. Proof is in the pudding. Show and prove. Show and prove. Absolutely. Um, I just try to see the sincerity in which and who it's coming from. You know, I'm big on community. I'm big on elders. So, if it's coming from somebody that's older, that's walked this path before me, I take what I need, I throw away what I don't. And I think it applies to pretty much everybody that, like I was saying, man, I can listen to pretty much what anybody has to say because everybody has a unique story and a unique perspective on said story. So I'll take what I need, I'll throw away what I don't. But it's really, really easy for me to hear the bullshit versus when someone is sincere, because again, I'm listening for approach. I'm listening for how you're talking about the subject in totality versus, bringing it back to you, bringing it back to somebody, making it an anecdotal experience. So as long as that selfishness is not there and you're not making it about you or your experience, you're listening objectively and speaking to the subject generally, I think that I can pretty much cut through what's BS and what's pretty much, organic. And all right, what about this one right here? This is a hard one. How do you express masculinity in a positive fashion in your life? Shout out to my brother. Peace, Brother Jones. My man MC Hammer's choreographer. You can catch him on Tuesdays and Thursdays right outside my house. He cashes checks with no ID required. He's an awesome guy. So, positivity. How do you express masculinity in a positive fashion in your life? I was saying that I choose my tone, delivery, words, and how I speak to people to express my masculinity in a positive way. It's not always taken positive, even within my own family. I have daughters, nothing but daughters. I have one son. He's 27 years old, lives in Florida. Shout out to you, J Rock. But in the house with me, I have 4 women, my wife, and I also have another son. He's about 16. But in my delivery and my tone is where they resonate the most. I could be saying the most intellectual thing. I could be saying the most cautious thing that has their well-being in their interests at hand. But all they hear is how loud I said it and the way I sounded when I said it. And they just check out. I don't know how to change that. Maybe you could help me. But I'm their dad. I gotta give it to them the way I think it works. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think that that's how I express my masculinity, and it might not always be taken positive. So help me out, Brother She.
Yeah, when it when it comes to me, I do the same thing, especially with my boys. Them, it just I come across the same way sometimes, yelling, but it's more or less the tone speaks highly to the situation. So if I'm yelling, they know there's a situation to done something wrong, need to get right or anything. Other than that, I'm a calm person. I don't really yell much. I don't come at people foul. For me to be aggressive to somebody, it's speaking highly towards the situation always.
Okay.
I'm never a person to run up in someone's face, try to fight. So even with our kids, when we talk like that, they get used to it. But it's more of implementing some type of structure, and they take offense to it because you never get away from that. Whether you're doing something right or wrong, especially when you're doing something wrong, But when you're doing something right and being chastised for it, you're always gonna be on the emotional side of why.
Mm-hmm.
So that pushes the biggest thing with them. Like me, like I was looking at the question with the position with me and my masculinity, it's just the showing like my actions, because people always say without just talking to me, they always have a look on my face that I'm an aggressive person. And I already look rough. I don't shave like that every now and then. So my wife get on me about that. So everybody take it that I'm a reckless guy that's gonna do something to them until they get to talking to me. They're like, yeah, man, when I first met you, man, I thought you was one of them suicide killers. You come in here and wipe out the whole town. But when they got to know me, but it's just the way I carry myself like that. I carry myself calm, cool, don't really say too much, keep the scene out, and just bring that vibe. And when it comes to our kids, they know us as dad, so they cool with us, But at the same time, though, it's like I said, that whole position of the leadership and having to put that discipline in, kids don't like it. They like it when, like my kids, they like when I go take them out, buy them stuff.
Yes.
But then they do not like the discipline that comes along with it.
Yeah, same over here, man. The exact same over here. And I'm absolutely trying to find the balance. I just had to tell them last week, we have to come together every once in a while just to test the climate on everybody. It don't have to be an everyday thing, but just to see where everybody's at. How you doing? You got anything you trying to accomplish that we can help with? And it's, they heard more of the tone than that welcoming action, that want for collectiveness, for us to get together. They just heard, dad is saying something in that deep voice. And it's just like, how do I get away from them not hearing the tone and hearing the things that I'm saying? And it's really hard.
Yeah. And see that it's more of a personalized thing with my kids. One of my sons, they like cars, so I implement some stuff about cars. Try to get them to like a warm place. Soothing to where anything I talk to them about, they open up because they're happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like my kids like going to Dave and Buster's, so I might take them there, and they ready, they pumped. We have a conversation on the way over there. Like put the phones down. I'm big on tell. Even my wife, we got a rule when we go out to eat: no phones at the table. Okay. Even in our house, no phones at the table, because you get lost in the phone the way you can't even communicate. Like you start losing yourself because even the videos that you watch, the programming that they're giving you on the videos and throughout, just lose yourself.
Absolutely. Well, there's one thing that you said in there that I would love to speak to. Just like you said, a lot of people that took your look superficially, and then once they spoke to you and got to know you, had a completely different outlook. I can relate. And it's a little hurtful, y'all, that, you see us a certain way and I'm completely there. Scar on my face, beard, got this look. And it's like, before you started talking, and, depending on the audience, I'm going to change my jargon and the vocabulary. And it's like, before you opened your mouth, it was like, but that's, we all human. We people. Give us a chance. We say don't judge the book by the cover. And that's what made me bring up this question about how do we differentiate? Because I hear so many cliches: don't judge a book by its cover. And, we all need to be respectful, to let people speak and agree to disagree. Yeah, I hear all of that, but some of it just sound like smoke and BS. Because from some of y'all, you don't exude these things that I hear you saying out of your mouth. And it's very disappointing, because we are all very intellectual and intelligent people that come here to have good conversation. So when we get lost in it, I just get so confused that these good people with these good heads on their shoulders are not going to continue to talk because we too busy focusing on small, minute points in a conversation. So
it's all personalized, like I said.
It shouldn't.
You'll accept more. It's personalized by knowing someone. You can accept certain things from them a lot better. You know, to the extent you always gonna have that feeling in the back of your head. Like I say, with kids and parents, they know that you're the disciplinary and you're coming down to enforce things. So they're hesitant on sharing. Like, you know, I had a situation with my son. A kid was bullying one of them. You know, me and my sons are cool, everything. Talk with each other all the time, talk about school. But when it came to the bully, he told my oldest son, you know, and I was talking to my brother and I was like, well, I'm not that hard on them. You know, they can talk to me about anything. He was like, well, you know, maybe it's something that you're doing that you might need to change. I'm like, what? And he was like, so, you know, the kid's not talking to you about something like that. That means, you know, they feel they can't talk to you. I said, well, they talk to me about everything else. You know, and I have the conversations with them about bullying and, you know, talk to the teacher, tell me. And it was just the whole thing. Like, you get to a point about keeping stuff to yourself. And I tell them, you have to open up and talk about stuff like this. I don't know what's going on. I can't help you. You know, because there was a situation, too, with one of my sons. He hit a girl in the stomach. And I was like, oh, why did he do it? Then, you know, when I found out the girl slapped him, I was like, it's still bad, but at the same time, I see why he did it.
Okay.
You know, I had to tell him, I'm like, look, you're not supposed to be hitting girls like that, but I understand why you did it. Because, you know, I tell them, there's no reason for anybody. Me and my wife, we have these discussions all the time. There's no reason for you to hit me. I don't hit you. You have a discussion. You hit me, I'm going to hit you back. That's how the game goes. So we both keep our hands to ourselves. Any arguments or anything, we can verbally talk it out all day with no aggression or hitting or anything towards each other. And, you know, I had to teach my sons and let them know that as well because, you know, as boys, they fight.
Yep.
So I tell them, you know, if you have a problem with them, talk it out. I'd rather for you guys to yell at each other than hit each other.
Absolutely.
And establishing that, you know, builds them up to be more friendly to the point where if I don't like the situation, I'm going to talk about it, then I'm done with it. And to always be going into aggressive mode to where you take that into adulthood and therefore jail and probation and everything that follows.
Absolutely. And I think it's just the words. I think people don't have the words to express themselves. So they use the curse words, they use the actions, they use violence because they don't know how to convey their message in an adequate way, especially if the person that they're, you know, going against is doing that. It gets a little hard to compete with words when you don't have a lot of words. So my suggestion is, you know, step your vocabulary game up. There's a dictionary. You can take a word a day. It is one of the best books ever. It was not just a coincidence that the brother Malcolm read it. It was absolutely necessary. Get the words that you need to express what you're trying to say that everybody knows, not the words that you make up. We all got to know what you're trying to say. I got one more question and I'm out of here. This is it. Bam. Is heartbreak gender specific? I hear a lot of women say, you know, a man can't take the pain a woman can take. And I got a clip to go with it just while you think.
What happened when you got your heart broken?
I did everything but die. I thought I was dead, crying like a motherfucker. I cried so hard I thought I was outside in the rain.
Hey, do love hurt? Oh,
shit. Do it hurt? I'd rather be dead than take that shit, go through that pain again. Have you be dead, you gone. You don't know. You got to live with that shit and you ain't strong enough to handle love. You got to walk around with that shit, you looking at all your friends, you ain't happy. You ain't happy, you putting on a little smile, but you ain't happy. Fuck you got to be happy about it. Shit, they happy, you ain't happy. And you going around seeing everybody with their old lady you ain't got now, but yours done dumped your ass. Boy! Bitches just don't know. Them bitches be joking. They just don't know. I'm ready to commit a suicide. I'm take two of them with ready to kill.
That's real what he said, and I think that's why we are where we are, Sheed. We have these forums with the pushback and everybody talking about the most negative man and the most negative woman they could think of when we asked them who you like. We didn't even ask you about those people. And I think it's that what he just said. Heartbreak is a motherfucker. For somebody to not be with you no more and you walking around seeing all your friends and they together, like he said, you act like you happy. You ain't fucking happy. What you got to be happy about?
Yeah. Man, that's funny because I was literally just talking to this guy yesterday, actually in the space. Me and him, we had connected and we started, you know what I'm saying, talking. We actually met each other and he's down here in Georgia with me. So it was funny because we was talking about relationships and I told him the time that this girl, I liked the girl, you know, in high school, you know, so you're moving through life. And I liked the girl. Like 2 days, second day at the school, you know, I'm talking to her, walking her home, you know, just trying to be Mr. Romance and love because that's what I was taught. I was raised by a whole bunch of women. You know, they had the men around that taught me and showed me things. But the women had more of the impact on me being a, you know, a gentleman. I would say probably 5 days, you know, passed. 3 days passed because it was like 5 days total. I met her the second day, walked her home like 2 days. The first day, then the second day, walked her home. Then after that, you know, I started getting into sports and I was like, nah, how later and stuff. It wasn't no more. The fifth day, he was at my house being wore out by my brother. And I was crushed. I was like, oh, man, it hurt. And my brother said he knew the chick because I showed him the chick. But instead of him saying, man, she ain't no good, she did that, he just like showed me. And I was like it was a bad, you know. It's like mixed feelings because you know when you're young, you don't know how to measure the whole factor of putting love into a situation. So when you're young, you're gonna pour the whole glass full. You're not pouring a little at a time. As you get older, you measure love, you know, by like, you know, liters, distance, you know, whatever, by cupful. And it was to the point where, you know, I just poured the whole cup full and man, mine just came and knocked the whole glass.
Absolutely. Sucks. Yeah, man. Mine's is similar, just not another person, but just, you know, young love, high school, and just weren't able to see it through, you know, based on being young, being immature, you know, not ready for what we were getting into, but you know, amazing girl, amazing person, and you know, still speak to this day, have a child together. So it wasn't a fluke, but it's just, you know, I get disappointed in the family that I kind of created that I didn't finish, so to speak. I stayed in my son's life, like I said, 27 years old, and we all were very, you know, professional about it and very cordial and even nice. But at the same time, you know, it was very heartbreaking to see that I couldn't make that work and, you know, just bring that full circle versus having the parent from outside of the house and all of the things that come along with that. And I think that's where the real heartbreak lies, that, you know, you no longer are that on hand parent. You have to now delegate from outside, which is really not delegation at all, because ultimately, you know, the parental caregiving custodial parent is going to be the primary choice maker. So you're just, you know, on the outside looking in. And I think that was what was most heartbreaking. But, you know, it got us to where we are today. So overall, it was, you know, for the greater good. But yeah, man, it was just something I wanted to chop up with. The math just wasn't adding up to me. And you helped me make a lot more sense of it. And the people in the comments as well, that, you know, we all have to move as individuals with a certain thirst for knowledge, a certain knowledge of self, and a certain willingness to compromise to the people that we meet in life and the people we want to be with, to, you know, kind of share an experience and kind of adjust our lives to fit in with them and the people that we come in contact with. What you think?
Yeah. 'Cause, one of my guys I talk to here on this what he always say, there's no in between. Either your math is right or your math is wrong.
Okay.
A lot of people, don't function with the math. Calculating even to that point. When it comes to heartbreak, men and women both got hearts, so they can be broken. It's not gender specific. You know, do women, carry their heart more than men? Yes, but to a degree, you're having phases where men are getting more emotional, with just like women nowadays.
Absolutely.
So that's a balance within itself as well. So for the women, they're getting, strong in their femininity to where they either with it or not. So it's not a specific thing. And, to the point of all, like I said, self gotta work on you. Starts with you, and then elevating yourself to be better. A lot of people don't do that. I always say the biggest cheerleader in your life is you. You can own things, you can do things. If you don't big up yourself, look at yourself as being number one, no one else is gonna do that for you.
Absolutely right. Brother Jones checked in. He said, I think heartbreak is a part of life, not necessarily from a relationship standpoint. Always, it helps us become stronger people. Absolutely. I mean, every day we stronger. And that's like you just said, we might not be becoming better, but you have the opportunity to be better because every day you're waking up stronger because you've been through some stuff that didn't kill you. So you absolutely are getting stronger every day. Great points, man. Great points. So that's all I got for this week, man. Actually, no, I don't. I'm lying. That's a lie. I got a couple of things that I want to play. 2 more videos, and this is for my brothers. This is real barbershop talk right here. This is the first one.
What is y'all doing? Hey, you're like a baby to me. Why you? That's what I'm doing. I don't know what you're doing. I can see you snatching my fucking. So what? So what's going on then? You're stealing stuff. If you break into your house, you steal something. Nah, man. What you say? A bag of chips? So y'all treat me like a whole cold-blooded fucking killer? He walked through that dude. I know what I just came up and seen. I know the fuck I just came up and seen. Okay, what'd you see? I see y'all snatching him up the back like you're a fucking grown-ass man. Ain't he saying it wasn't him? What is y'all doing? What is y'all talking about, man?
That's against the law.
What is y'all doing? What is y'all doing? Take the fucking chips. If he stole some chips, I'll pay for him. I'll pay for him. You don't even know where he lives.
Back again, I use my back
y'all just throwing him in the fucking car.
Never count on y'all. Always count on
y'all. What is y'all doing? Leave him alone.
It's on camera. That's all we can do.
He a kid. What is y'all doing?
And that was for some chips. And at the end of the day, he didn't even do it. The kids were absolutely right. He didn't even do it. Shout out to Sir Hale on the check-in. Shout out to the big dog. And this is just like you see, Sir Hale, the math ain't mathin' is the title of the episode. And I just, we got through some really good points. And I'm just now breaking down and getting ready to get out of here. But I wanted to get some real barbershop content for fellas to chime in on. And that was a clip of some police officers taking a young boy away, reminded me of Doughboy, had to be all of 7 or 8 years old, for some chips. And I want you to notice, Brother Sheed, that the police, like I said, people bring it right around to you. What's the first thing he said to him? He was stealing stuff. If he breaks in your house and steals something, ... Want to automatically spin it and make you the victim now. Now he's doing it to you because, he's one of those young black boys. They steal from everybody in the community at the same time. And it's not true. That young man was a young man that made a mistake. Even if he did take the chips, it's a mistake. And that's what makes me so mad that some kids in America are just blowing off steam. But other kids in America are criminal masterminds. It's very upsetting, but this is what we talk about in the barbershops in my neighborhood. What did you see in that clip?
Man, like the guy was saying, I seen them handling a grown man. Just like you said, snatched them off the corner, snatched them off the bike or whatever. threw the cuffs on him, threw him in the car. He wasn't even handling him like a child. And it was to the point, like they say, going back to where you 85, you're an adult, you're a grown man. You're a boy, 8 or 35, you're a grown man.
Very upsetting
Grown man.
to see. It did. But this has been going on since the beginning of time. Emmett Till, shout out to my hero, taught me that my mouth is very important and instrumental, and I will not let anyone silence me if I think a girl is pretty, no matter her nationality. But these young men are fighting the plight. And what I want to talk about is this young man is traumatized from this. That wasn't easy for him to handle as a 7-year-old boy. But this is the benefit of the doubt that we as Black men don't get in this country. He was not even 10 and don't get no benefit of the doubt. Like you said, the cuffs was out. He was in the back of the car. It's a done deal. And he grows up to be a man that don't get any consideration from his boss, no benefit of the doubt of his girl. If I find out Maury, he cheating, he out of here. But let me ask you this, do they ever say, if you find out he's not cheating, what's his reward? Ain't got no reward for that. Oh, you could just come on back home. That ain't right. You just accused this man of a whole thing. Turn out he didn't do it. And there's no reward. There's no same thought process put into what if the man is right? Because we don't get the benefit of the damn doubt. The boy wasn't even 10.
It was the same thing happened.
And what's bad is I'm not all surprised. The prison pipeline is a real thing. You go ahead, Brother Sheik.
There was the same situation that happened. I watched this show YouTube where they have like these cops that do unlawful things. It's something like a report or policing something that. Anyway, the show showed this man, drove his motorcycle to work. His wife locked the keys in the car, so he's checking the doors. Goes into Walmart, get a coat hanger, has his Walmart uniform on his bike. And, he just got through checking on the door locks on the other side of the parking lot. And he walks over to his bike, get his bike. He's about to get ready to drive over there, check it out. So the first thing the police do, some lady called the police on him. Police, they goes over there, start harassing the guy. Like, what's up? What's going on with you? You're like, can I help? Just checking on you and seeing what's going on with you. The whole time the guy is confused. You sitting there in the parking lot by yourself, police rolls up asking you how you doing. It's like, hey, everything okay? Yeah, I'm fine. What's wrong? Then he starts trying to question him why he got a coat hanger in his pocket. He was like, why? He's like, man, you over there messing with a car and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, yeah, I was trying to get in there. Went all the way left from there.
Absolutely.
Police, going at him, telling him, being all aggressive to him. He's like, hey, man, calm down. Pull the taser out. He's like, man, you ain't tasing nobody. Tase the guy, all this stuff. Put in a police report. He was being aggressive. He was being disruly, all this. Didn't even ask who car it was. All he could have did was ran the bike tag and found out it was registered to him. His whole thing was trying to catch a criminal. He's wondering, why are you going into a car when you have a motorcycle present here? So he already seen that either he was going to steal something out of that car or trying to possibly take the car. And he thought, oh, got me a bad guy.
Yep. The math added up for him. And that's all he needed. 1 + 7 = criminal. And that, not even the case. And that's exactly what we speak to when we say something like all lives matter, Black lives matter. All of that's just words. What we saying is situations are not as cut and dry as one might think. And y'all say it when y'all get in court. I was in fear for my life, and every instance I got to make it home to my family, and all of that is understandable. But at the same time, it's the other family on the other side of that spectrum too. And I think we as people, as taxpayers, as the people who pay y'all salary, deserve a little bit of consideration to what is the situation.
Honestly, hearing police officers say that, I'm like, don't do the job. If you're in fear for your life, don't do the job. Because the job is demanded and it is a stressful job. If you in that much fear till we have to kill everybody you come in contact with, don't do the job.
Yep. Or do like, the great Baba Dick Gregory said, give them something that could be taken away. They're not going to stop because they like us, because they don't.
He wrong for that, baby.
But if you give little Jenny free college, give little Johnny free college sheet, soon as they become police, first day they sign up, they get free college tuition for their children. But the minute something goes left, gets taken away. I guarantee you it'll stop then, because now you're taking something out of their mouth and they have to consider, is little Johnny's college tuition worth me pulling this trigger or this taser or cutting off this body camera or whatever the case may be? But now it's a decision that has to be made. And because things like that don't get implemented, I don't think that, it's a greater good as a collective or an agenda moving forward. I think that, it's evidently they want us all gone eventually, like that little boy right there, to Will Smith, to Chris Rock, to we got husbands in tuxedos, 50 years of age, slapping, assaulting, defending honors, which could get a regular guy like me or you with handcuffs on us for defending honor and so on and so forth. So I think there's an objective, fellas. We got to see that they have a goal for us, and it's for us to not play into that. I got one more clip, which is not exactly in the lines, but it speaks to the overall conversation, fellas. Check this one out right here.
Michelle Obama's brother, Craig Robinson, and his wife, Kelly, a private school in Milwaukee, alleging that it expelled their 2 young sons after the Robinsons raised concerns about racial and social economic bias at the school. We're going to talk to them both live in just a moment, but first, Steve Osunsami has more details for us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning to you, Robin. One of the things that started all of this was a classroom assignment that the parents say they only happened to hear because classes were virtual and the kids were at home.
It's considered one of the top private schools in America.
Craig Robinson and Mrs. Kelly Robinson.
Craig Robinson, seen here at the White House, is the brother of former First Lady Michelle Obama, making him the brother-in-law of a president. He and his wife Kelly say that administrators kicked their children out of the pre-K through 12 school after the parents complained about racial discrimination, saying that the school retaliated against their family after they submitted 2 separate reports in January and March 2021 to the school, concerned about what they felt was racial and ethnic stereotypes in virtual classroom assignments. After conversations and emails, the parents were stunned on April 14, 2021, when the school told them it was dismissing their 5th grader and then their 3rd grader on June 21, 2021. The complaint cites a letter the school wrote that claimed the parents repeatedly engaged in disrespectful and demanding communications with and about our teachers and administrators. It has only become more evident that there has been a complete breakdown in your family's trust of and respect for USM. Even the school says they were model students, calling them, quote, portraits of a graduate. But now the school says they'll need to graduate somewhere else.
This all started as a lot of parents. We heard what was going on in the classroom because of COVID, and there were repeated use of racial and ethnic stereotypes that were in actual assignments. Is that we're moving forward with this for a couple of reasons. We want to hold the University School of Milwaukee accountable to not just our 2 children who they retaliated against, but more importantly, there's a whole community of people who are out there that we wouldn't feel right if this happened moving forwards.
Shout out to them for putting up with that. But that was the former First Lady's brother, who is former President Obama's brother-in-law. and their kids were kicked out of school because they had a certain back and forth with the school that they questioned the manner in which they were teaching their children, bringing up things that were a little offensive to us as people. And the only reason that I brung that up is because I really relate to this, because we started to homeschool our child. She's 7 years old, and we homeschool her because a certain subject and assignment came up that brought up slavery. She has no idea of what slavery is. So in order to not even go down that rabbit hole, we say, you know what, we're going to take her education in our hands, because we feel that we should be the ones that introduce that to her. And in a certain fashion, we can't just introduce it as slavery, because those were actual people that were taken and put into slavery. So, you know, it's really, really touchy that the public school system is teaching our children in a certain fashion, and we're not even privy to it unless a perfect storm of COVID and homeschooling makes us aware. And then it becomes a question. So we write a letter to the school to ask why. And then they tell us, you know what? It looked like you don't even respect the school by asking us questions. Your kids can't come back to our school anymore. Wow. What a country we live in. And that's the brother of the former president. So imagine my regular old average 50,000 a year making self. I ain't getting no respect. What do you think about that, brother Sheed?
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy. When it come down to it, like you said, he, just like the royal family, he's almost into the royal family, being with the Obamas, and they don't respect him because he questioned, certain things. That's like with jobs and stuff, man. To a point, if you don't like what's going at the job, or the situation that they put you in, they'll try to fire you to prevent, everything else from escalating with everybody else start asking questions. Why are these policies implemented? Why do we have to do this? I was like, I'm dealing with something at my job right now that where, I'm gonna be getting me another job soon. They implement some new changes, and for the like of it, guys are quitting. It's only benefiting the company. It's not benefiting drivers. And I told him, I said, well, this is not going to be a good thing, because the more you start implementing stuff for the company, it's good for you guys' pocket, but then it hurts the drivers. The drivers are not there to make you the money. Then how can you sustain?
Absolutely.
And that's the thing with these schools, just like that too.
Mm-hmm. You guys are the arteries. Anybody that's that manual skill, that truck driving, again, anybody can't just jump in no truck. You can't get no computer to do that. So, you guys are definitely the artery. Forget the bloodline. You lose an artery, it's all messed up. So you definitely got to know, what side of the bread your butter should go. And they should absolutely be looking out for you guys. Your safety is at risk, your time, and a whole bunch of other stuff, your rigs, and it's a lot that goes into that. So kudos to y'all for standing y'all ground. And it just speaks to me, like I said, Nas told me early, they want us all gone. They want us all gone. And I don't mean, just one way. They want us in jail. They want us out of here. They don't want us in their schools. And they want to send us the message that at any given time, if you start acting a certain way, we will act accordingly. And again, that's why I come up here, because I think we don't get the benefit of the doubt in the world. The world looks at us, men, African-American men, black men, whatever you identify with, a certain way. So when we come home and we can't get a hug, hey, honey, how you doing? A smile, a feminine touch, imagine what we got to go through the next day. And, it's just like y'all ladies. If y'all can't get a climax, you're not looking forward to the next sex session. And if we can't get some words of encouragement, some terms of endearment, we're not looking forward to getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to this bullshit job. We don't even want to go to it in the beginning, but we got y'all beautiful face, your feminine touch, those words, our babies, to give us the inspiration. And when, you know, that starts to escape and you tell, we can't tell you to smile and we can't expect a warm plate when we come home, it just starts to get a little offensive to our plight and our struggle in 2022, where we got to consider everybody. We got to consider kids, people that, you know, are on the spectrum, people that are on the sexual spectrum, elderly, other ethnicities. So how come the black man can't get a little consideration? We would love a little bit. And, you know, that's what I got for today, man. I'll be back next week with more barbershop talk. Anything you want to round them up with, She? Let them know where they can find you.
You can find me over on She We Here channel. And I want to say this real quick. Seeing a video, the TikTok, where this black guy was talking to a guy. I guess he posed a question. I don't know how it went through, but basically the guy said, to beat all these useless wanted killings and all this towards police, if every black person got life insurance, those life insurance lawyers, they don't want to pay, especially when something is kind of fishy to a degree. They do not want to pay. They will take them, like, all these payouts and to the extent that these police officers are getting off, the insurance companies, they're going to make for sure that they go to jail because they don't want to be liable for that.
Got you. So they
will make sure that they be held accountable.
Yeah, that makes sense. So y'all hear that? That's another way to combat the whole cruelty towards us. Is life insurance will absolutely bring a magnifying glass out. And the insurance companies will definitely get some questions answered that we might not be able to with our, you know, regular ordinary selves. So that's a great point. Great point. You got anything else?
That's it. We here. We done.
Shout out to She We Here. Yo, y'all check him out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button because his content is always informative, always pushing a conversation about how we can change our narrative as far as financially, our family dynamic, and how to keep the conversation moving forward. And he's always appreciated. We appreciate all the tables that we sit at. Shout out to Sure Hale. Shout out to Knowledge and Relationships. Shout out to Red Lipstick's Vibe. Shout out to E-Black TV. Shout out to everybody that fuck with us and we fuck with. Shout out to my brother M3, the best in the world. Shout out to everybody that love us and we love y'all back. Mimsy Limbs, JP the Matriarch, and just the whole crew, man, that just pushes the conversation forward, always mature, always respectful in their platforms. We, again, agree to disagree. We can always, you know, even disagree completely, but it's always respectful. It's always in the greater good of the conversation. And I think that's what I like most about it. Shout out to He Said, She Said, Love and Abundance every Thursday. Y'all know how we get down. We got fire coming. And I'll be back next week, man. All my brothers, hold y'all head. Y'all stay strong out here. Stay mature. And, you know, come through with any suggestions y'all got. Cigars, any colognes, anything man-affiliated, sports. We here for it. I'm not, you know, the most efficient, but I am up to date. Absolutely. Brooklyn is down 2 games. KD is letting me down big time. And we see what else happens from there. What do you think about the NBA? You got any likes? Anybody you think going all the way? I think Middleton just got hurt yesterday. So Milwaukee looking crazy.
I don't have no likes in it. I mean, nope, not really.
Okay.
I mean, if anything, I'm pushing for my Hawks because I'm, you know, ATL. But
oh man, shout out to Treyway. Treyway got busy yesterday too. I think he hit a game winner yesterday. So yeah, shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. My man Trey Young and everybody down there doing their thing because they are definitely up and coming. And shout out to all the fellas, man. We here. Anytime y'all want to come through and chop it up, we are here. Ladies, I'm going to have a topic coming up that y'all are going to be invited to. We would love to hear what y'all think. But right now, this is for the fellas. This is the shop. And I'm brother He Said, and we out of here.